Number 3 is appearance of interested citizens. Due to the coronavirus, comments are to be provided by email to cityclerk@yubacity.net or through GoToMeeting. That's all one word. Oral comments by phone or in person are currently not available. It says here we have received 2 letters that have been requested to be read at the council meeting. The first one is from Robin Hearn Essary.
Would you like me to read that, Mayor?
Yes, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. Says to Yuba City Council, on March 30th, 2020, I answered my front door to 2 Yuba City representatives. They informed me that the 6 trees lining the frontage of my home were going to be removed due to disease and they were dying. These trees have been on the street for decades and provide shade, wind protection, and most importantly, homes for nesting birds, squirrels, and other species. Since 1996, I have watched every year the nesting period of these many species inside and outside of these trees. Every tree cut down along the street had nests inside of them. I asked the city reps a few questions. 1, when would the trees be removed? They told me in 1 to 2 weeks. This was a lie because they ripped them out the next day on March 31st, knowing the residents could not have time to dispute or try to save our trees and the wildlife residing in them. 2, would new trees be replanted? They said no. They further said that the residents would not replant them in the same place because the city owned the right of way. I was told by the reps the residents would have to move several feet into our lawns to replant. 3, would removing the trees mean we would now get our gutters and sidewalks? The answer, of course, was no again. The city annexed our neighborhood in 1996 and was done absolutely nothing to address our flooding or driveways, streets, and lawns. The residents must walk in the streets competing with vehicle traffic to take walks or ride bikes. The council needs to understand that most of all of our homes on Cassidy Avenue have their own well and septic systems. We literally use no city services but pay city taxes like all other residents. What is a return on our taxation? Nothing. After 23 years and no expectations from our city, the least the council could do is address the destruction so needlessly caused. A week later and the stumps from the trees remain. The stumps look healthy, so we would ask the city for a copy of the arborist report. We have a few questions posed directly to our council members representing all of us. 1, were you aware that the city purposely cut down over 20 beautiful live trees that produce leaves foliage every year? 2, were you advised that they were going to destroy, kill eggs, baby birds, and other baby species during nesting season? If so, why do it? If not, who is making the decisions to violate environmental laws and regulations? 3, why would the city not replace trees in a neighborhood and destroy an ecosystem so important but not replace it? Why would the city leave one of their neighborhoods damaged by their own works and lower the residents' property value, which in turn lowers property tax rolls? 4, what was the immediate risk to the community during a coronavirus that could justify killing trees and species? At a time your residents are stressed out and homebound, was this really the time to destroy our beautiful street that were famously lined with nature? 5, do you share the attitude of other city representatives that proper notice was not important and not given to residents a voice to try and resolve the protection of these trees and wildlife is okay? And 6, will you work with us to replace the trees or commit to sidewalks and gutters to create safety measures? Finally, I would like to invite all of you to the one tree managed to be saved for now at 581 Cassidy Avenue, which has a nest full of baby birds to prove nesting was real. We have a hard time dealing with the memory of the tree contractors cutting the limbs containing the babies and then throwing them into the blades of the wood chipper to be destroyed. We can't think of anything right now more inhumane or thoughtless. Equally worse is the knowledge the city has no plans to replace the ugliness it caused. The residents of Cassidy Avenue are close-knit and look after each other. Many of us have lived here for decades because it's a county environment you can't find anywhere else in our city. While we did not cause the problem, we would like to be part of the solution for how the city can rectify its actions. Robin Hearn Essary, and her address and phone number.
All right. Very well written letter. We appreciate that for sure. Diana, is there a way we can formulate a response to the questions or at least have a further up conversation with this individual?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Any member of the council have anything to comment on that? No. Okay, I can appreciate the perspective for sure. And then Tara, we have one more letter.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I had to take my mute off. I saw that letter late this evening, so I drove down the street before I was able to get here, and it does look pretty bad because it was a beautiful treed street on both sides, and it's pretty bare on the north side, excuse me, the south side of the street now, and we need to maybe try doing something for those folks because it was a beautiful street, and see what we can do. If you see what staff can do and see if we can help those folks in the future and at least get those stumps cleaned up because they are ugly in the yards. I mean, if they cut the trees down in 24 hours, I think we can get staff or somebody to get those stumps cleaned up in the next week or so. That's just my comments.
Sounds reasonable. Thank you, Manny. Appreciate it. All right, so the second letter is Jeff Rutledge.
Yes, the second letter is from Jeff Rutledge, and he's also on Cassidy Avenue, and the subject is removal of all the trees during nesting season on Cassidy Avenue. Thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to my concerns about a project that was performed by the City of Yuba City on Cassidy Avenue starting on Monday, March 30th, 2020. On Monday morning, a representative from Yuba City knocked on my door and indicated that they were going to cut the tree down in my front yard. He said the trees were sick and hollow down to the trunk. He also said they were planning to take all the trees down in the entire block in the next few days because of a liability. Many of my neighbors, including myself, have been taking on the responsibility fiscally for the care of these trees for decades. The south side of the street has power poles with PG&E power, Comcast cable, and AT&T telephone. The tops of the trees on the south side have been maintained by PG&E for decades. Tuesday morning, Birch's Tree Service, contracted out by the city, began on the southwest side of the street, cutting the trees down to the ground. As the trees were going down, my neighbors and I were noticing that the trees were not nearly as sick as we were informed. We also noticed there were many birds flying over the stumps looking for their nests. This did not seem to concern the tree trimmers as they ran limbs with nests through the wood chipper. They proceeded and finished taking all the trees down on the south side of the tree, leaving the stumps. When they returned Wednesday morning, I asked the workers if they would not cut down the tree in front of my house because it was full of baby birds. They called their supervisor and he came to my door and said if anybody had a problem with the tree coming down, he was told by the city to skip it. I told him they were welcome back this summer after the baby birds have flown the coop. He gave me Kevin Bradford's number at the city for any other discussions, and I contacted him. Kevin was very helpful and on a lot of other questions I had concerning Cassidy Avenue and other neglected older neighborhoods annexed into the city over the past few decades, such as sidewalks, gutters, streetlights, water, and sewer. He asked me to get a hold of Matt Langley regarding the tree situation. Matt called me back the next day and said he didn't have a good answer for my questions. I asked him if he could send me the arborist report regarding this report. He said he would get it to me next week. I still have not received that report. I followed the phone conversation up with an email with some of the following questions that have not been answered. 1, why were the homeowners not notified in writing by the city prior to the week of the tree removal? 2, why was the work performed during a national and statewide stay-at-home order by our local, state, and federal government? 3, how long will it be before the city returns and removes the tree stumps? 4, does the city have any future plans for improvements on Cassidy Avenue? 5, will the city be replacing the trees that were removed? And 6, would the city take on a project like this during the nesting season of birds and bees? Or why, not what? It appears that the city has disregarded any environmental rules and regulations such as Fish and Game Code 3503. It is unlawful to take, possess, or needlessly destroy the nest or eggs of any bird except as otherwise provided by this code or any other regulation made pursuant thereto. Thank you for listening to my concerns, and I would appreciate the party or parties responsible for initiating this project to clarify, justify their actions. Thank you for your time and consideration. Jeff Rutledge, address and phone number. Mayor, you're muted.
All right, thank you for that heads up. once again, like I was saying, another well-written letter by Mr. Rutledge, and appreciate his concerns. Dinah, same request for a response to him, if you don't mind.
Yes, we will.
Thank you very much. Any public comment? I know I keep asking that, Terrell, but are we still good, without any extra?
I still do not have any extra comments.